Hello, everybody. Okay, hey, welcome, guys. I know it's weird. It's Tuesday, but I'm back from my vacation. And so today made the most sense for doing something. So if you are able to join me, thank you. If you're watching the replay, let me know. I love to know who's out there and watching the replay. So today, since we missed our last couple lives, we are going to actually make last week's project, which was a suncatcher, live today. And we're going to draw to see what we're going to be making this Thursday when we'll be back on our normal schedule, okay? And I got a little crazy between the Great Bead Extravaganza and the World Cup because I wanted to watch those, so I shifted our time. And then I went out of town to visit my father, who just turned 93 last week, so that was it was fun to see him and my sister and her kids, or at least one of her kids. And so we had a nice visit with family. Got home late last night, and here we are today. So we're just going to jump back into this. Oh, and on another note, I had fun teaching my live class. I taught the Desert Blooms bracelet, which we have here, at one of the local artisan shops here. So that was a lot of fun. So 7 people played along with me and made their bracelets live. So it was so nice to have live students. And if any of you guys are watching, thanks again for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the project. And we'll be coming up with something to do down the road in the probably in September timeframe. And I'm looking forward to coming up with another project for you guys to make. So that will be exciting, and thanks again for all that fun and support. If you're local, I taught at Freebird Shop in Catalina this weekend. They're actually opening a second location here in Oro Valley at the Artist and Maker Studio. So feel free to jump out there and support local artisans. So everything at those shops is made in Arizona. And it supports, small businesses, including theirs. So, all right, let's get started. I think I'll draw first because otherwise I might forget, and then we will see what we can come up with for our week 29 project. All right, so we're gonna draw for week 30. We have 1 make card left, so I don't even have to shuffle, right? So those of you that are new, remember we have the Bead Stash challenge cards. So we draw cards every week, usually on Sunday, and then we make the project live on Thursdays. So our decks, we start with deck 1, is a generic deck that'll work with most everything. If you have a Bead of the Month club, it works great with those. But we also have 4 extension decks that you can add onto it. One is our color expansion, which adds everything color, gets you out of your rut of using your favorite color all the time, because I do that if I don't have to do different things. We've got our non-jewelry and findings deck, which has you making things like, like keychains, making some of your own findings, making sure you're using a lot of those findings, especially if you're in a monthly bead thing. You may have a whole bunch of findings that you don't end up using. Like me, I never use bead caps, or rarely. I shouldn't say never, but rarely use bead caps unless I draw the card. So it gets me to use some of those findings that I might not otherwise use. We also have 2 themed decks. One is our Sun and Sea deck, which is all things beachy, summer vacation. And then we have our Desert Southwest deck, which is all things from the Desert Southwest, the culture, the landscape, and all of that that you would find here in Arizona, New Mexico, parts of Texas, Southern California, all those things. So anyways, those are our fun decks. If you're interested in any of those, you can find them on our website, or you can order directly from me by direct messaging me. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment on the page, and then we can start a conversation in email, or you can, again, go to the website. Links to the website are in all of our descriptions for our company. So anyways, all right, so what are we going to make on Thursday? We are going to make a napkin ring. All right, so that's from our non-jewelry and findings deck. Next, we find out what we're going to use from our stash to make our napkin ring, right? Hey, Janelda. All right, so use cards. I draw 3. You can draw 1. You can draw 5. It all depends on how comfortable you are. We're going to use square or cube beads in our design. We are going to use upcycled or leftover beads from other projects in our design. All right. Those are all doable, right? And I am going to use a fetish or animal bead in my design. So that will be fun. I can't wait. All right. And then our last thing is our challenge cards. So these cards add a theme or a design aspect that we have to include in our project. And all of these things together are designed to boost your creativity. And I will say that, you know, even though I created these cards and they push me out of my comfort zone all the time, I make things that I never would have, you know, thought of making, like our bolo tie necklace. That was a fun design a couple weeks ago. You know, I make things with, we made another necklace using undrilled stones. Anyways, it definitely pushes me out of my comfort zone. So let's see what's going to push it out. So we have to design something inspired by bead life. So I guess my fetish animals or whatever will have to be sea life inspired. So I think that's doable. All right. So on Thursday at noon Pacific time, I don't know what happens if the if the bill goes through that actually gets everybody to stay on daylight saving times, because we don't do daylight saving time. So I don't know if that means we still stay on mountain time, mountain standard time, or if we then become Pacific time year round. I just hope, no offense, but I hope it doesn't pass. I would love for the rest of the country not to do daylight savings, but I think you just not do like daylight savings, not stay on daylight savings would be my preference. But anyways, we're going to make a napkin ring. We're going to use square or cube beads. We are going to use upcycled or leftover beads. And we are going to use a fetish or animal bead in our napkin ring. And it will be inspired by sea life. So join me Thursday at noon. All right. Let's see what we're going to do for our last week's project. So just as a reminder, we are going to make a sun catcher today. We are going to use rainbow finish beads or metal in our design. I'm going to go ahead and put all the cards out here because some of these things I've pulled out will address multiple ones. So we're using rainbow finish, we're using a skull, we're using stretch cord, and it has to do with family birthstones. So let's get the easy ones out of my basket. I've got some stretch cord in there. All right. You know, sometimes I buy things when people are having like closeout or Bead Stash sales, and you can't understand what is wrong with the regular time. I can't either. Anyways, so Hyperlinks, which is a chainmail company up in Canada, so they used to have a bead store on top of doing chainmail, and so every once in a while she'll do these Bead Stash of her old bead store stuff. But I remembered that I had this as after I drew these cards. So how's that? A rainbow finish skull, and it's, you know, it's too giant for most. I think if I was going to make a necklace out of this, I would just make a long necklace and put it on some leather cord and call it a day, right? But I am really excited about being able to use my rainbow finish skull in a sun catcher today. I've got some rainbow chain. Let's see, I've got some wire. Oh, I also have some crystal skulls that are purple. Now, the family birthstones, so there's multiple people in my family who love purple. So we've got some purple going here, which goes wonderfully with the rainbow finish. What else do I have in here? I have some other assorted things, which I don't know what I want to use. So I might use this ring because I want to be able to dangle things below the skull. We used it years ago. Are you saying no daylight savings or daylight savings year round, Janelda? Is that what you're commenting on? I'm just talking. All right, so I have a bunch of random beads. I also had some, you know, potential dangles here. So I pulled out some turquoise and some purple because the turquoisey colors are my favorite. Or teal, if you want to call it that. To me, it's, I don't know. In clothing, it would be turquoise-ish, but maybe it doesn't have enough green in it. But I also pulled out just some clear, like suncatcher beads. I've got some leftover peacock beads, which I think will go great with this, as well as some from our Violet Dreams bead mix. Also, you know, just pulled out some wire. And I don't know, I put some orange in there. My mother-in-law's favorite color is orange, so it might go. We'll see. Anyways, we got a lot of this. And then, like I said, I pulled out a variety of just clear AB stuff that I thought we could use. All right, so I have no idea where we're going with this today. All right. I do know where I'm going to use the elastic. Okay, the elastic is going to be my hanger. Okay. So let me move these cards around just out of the way. And let's start designing. All right. So I was thinking, like, if I hung this in this loop, then it would allow me to hang things down. This loop happens to be like it's a bangle bracelet, which I think I also got from a bunch from Hyperlinks, not to wear as bangles, but to use in various projects. So I was thinking I might wire wrap some crystals around around the outside edge. I don't have enough of those to go all the way around, but I do have enough of these. Suppose I could intermix those with something though, because they'd be a little more sparkly, right? And then I was thinking maybe of doing some, you know, dangles with chain and connecting some of these beads, which these are all beads that are part of our challenge beads. But we also have some sparkles we can hang down there. So let's see what we got here. All right. Now I have a bunch of leftover crystals here from our peacock kits. So I thought, you know, because they have a little of the purple sheen, they would be good dangles. Let's see, maybe just 3, huh? If I have enough. I have a bunch of these little baby of these little bicones in here. Actually, maybe if I mix those with the crystals, I'll have enough to go around the outside, huh? I think so. I don't know why I have so many of these. I'm sure these were my extras from combining a bunch of kits, because, you know, there's not enough pieces in here, obviously. But all right. I think I'll do that, yeah. And that takes care of my favorite color, right? So if I use this skull, I don't need any chain. I was excited to be able to use my my rainbow chain. I was going to use I bought some newer rainbow chain lately, but it's tiny, and I decided for the suncatcher it wouldn't work very well. So all right, so I have 2 choices for wire. I was thinking of using this steel wire just because it's thin and strong, and it won't take away from my color here. So I'm just going to pull off a long piece. And I think we're going to do the kind of the quick way. I am going to do a couple of wraps on there so that that sticks to it. Put that aside. And then I'm just gonna string, we're gonna do the wrap the beads around and then connect them to the circle. So I have to string enough beads to go around the outside of the loop. I'm alternating my ABs and my little beautiful bicones here. Those are probably I can't think of the name of. What's that color? Let's see. I think it's probably zircon. When I don't think I'm going to have enough beads, and then I start dropping beads on the floor. But we will just have to make this work. This 28 gauge dark annealed wire I got at, I think Ace Hardware. My other wire, I have tons of different, I used to do a lot of wire wrapping, and I love to use colored wire, so I used to buy at all the gem shows I used to go to. There was a company called Bead Stash. Janelle, you might be familiar with them. They're from Texas. They used to have a great wire selection. I used to buy stuff from them, and then back when Fusion Beads was still in business, I bought a lot of wire from them. So I'm trying to, I would love to use, name brand fancy wire on stuff, but, I've got a lot of old wire in my collection, so I need to use some of it up. See how we're doing here. So about a third of the way there, I guess. Whoops. Put two zircon beads in a row. I don't know if you guys ever fly anywhere. It's like traveling. I remembered why I don't travel in the summer, because it's just very busy. But, we got everywhere. We didn't have any problems going to North Carolina, but we, coming home last night, Janelle, we were stuck in Houston for extra hour or two. Apparently there's a problem with the aircraft. It wasn't a weather thing or anything, which, in the summertime, sometimes it's a weather thing, but Tucson, you pretty much, there's 2 or 3 airports that we go through to get to other places. So we see a lot of the same airports. Let's go ahead and push this down our wire, see what we got here. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make enough to wrap around the outside so it'll be all sparkly when it's in the sun. And then I'm going to wrap it onto the loop or the ring. any of you started, I know, Janelle, you can't make anything right now, but I'm curious to know if anybody else has started their holiday making yet. Since I'm selling finished sculptures at this store now, I'm going to have to make a bunch of turkeys. Also thinking of making some spiders and skeletons for Halloween, or maybe Day of the Dead stuff. Now when you're stringing on like this, you do want it to be a little shorter than the full length, because when you put wire in between these beads, it's going to fill them in. So it's like we only need a couple more. It is hard to add beads afterwards though. Not impossible though. So I may leave it a little short, and if we have to, we will add beads, but I think I may leave it there with the idea that this part will be filled in by the hanger for the skull. So let me go through here, and I'm gonna, to keep my wire from bending too much, I am gonna push this, and then like I said, we're just making sure these attach. Just making sure that it can go onto the outside of so I don't know if you can see it because my wire is kind of thin. Now, you know, if you have your beads on there real tight, you can just go around the outside of the bead too if you want. And I'm trying to, so I'm pushing this through with my fingers rather than using the end, so that I can try not to kink my wire. And I'm going to pull these beads tight as I go around the next one. All right. We're just wrapping our string of beads onto here. Trying to keep it tight. Let me wrap it a couple more times, and then I'll show you up close again. So now you could definitely wrap these one at a time with the wire going through, through each bead and around. There's no right or wrong. It's a slightly different look. Don't think I have any examples. At the moment, or handy at the moment that we did. But, and this is 28 gauge wire, so it's a little hard to see, I know, for you guys. So we have that part all connected onto our outside ring. Oh, look, we made a boo-boo. You know what? We're just gonna leave it though, because at this point, there would be two ways I could fix that. One would be to break the bead, which I really don't want to do. The other would be to, you know, I could cut the wire right there, and then we just have to sort of reconnect stuff. So I am not going to do that right now. But caught myself doing that one other time. I guess I did it more than once. And like I said, I'm just lightly going between the beads, but I am trying to keep them tight. And again, I'm doing this on the outside. You could do it on the inside, but my skull is kind of big, so there's not a whole lot of extra room. If you're working with rainbow finish stuff, okay, so it's hard to find rainbow finish wire. I'm not sure I've ever seen it. Can't say it doesn't exist, but gunmetal and I think Beadsmith, their wire, it's a hematite instead of gunmetal, but it actually works pretty well with rainbow. You know, there's definitely some yellow in there, so you could use gold, purple, or blue. I always think the gunmetal and or hematite wire kind of blends fairly well. It's if you don't have purple or don't want to use your gold wire, your gold jewelry wire, because you know gold wire is not cheap, and it's hard to find sometimes, you know, a decent amount. See, it's tightening up as we get around. Hopefully I don't run out of wire. I have no idea how much wire I started with. It was just, I pulled a lot, but we might make it. I have a kink in my wire. All right. So I always feel like if I'm making a sun catcher, I need something sparkly, right? Even though, you know, the metal can sparkle a little, but it doesn't send the pretty prisms all over your floors and walls. And you know, around here, we love our crystals. I used to not be a crystal person. I remember when I'd go to Stars Beads back in the day when they had their shop, and they would always try to convince me to do crystals with my gemstones, but I always preferred putting pearls with them because I didn't, you know, unless I was making something for like a fancy event, like you know, a wedding or some sort of a dance or a party or something. I thought the pearls were a little better for work. I used to work at a fairly conservative office, so I didn't want to be super sparkly. Now remember, we had left a little gap, and now, see, this has moved in, but look, we have this beautiful loop. And you know what? We could have made this just, wouldn't that be a fun bracelet? Although I probably wouldn't use this steel wire for bracelet. But you know what I am going to use this steel wire for is connecting my my skull in here. I'm going to have to add more wire to make a hanger, although we're gonna use elastic for that, so maybe we don't. All right, I'm gonna make a loop with my pliers just so that this will move a little bit. I think that'll hold. But I am not making anything that looks fancy like I'd want on jewelry. I'm literally just wrapping this so it'll hold, right? Got a thin piece of steel, but it'll hold. Now, if you were to put this outside, I can't swear that it wouldn't eventually rust. But there we go. Look, we've got our skull in there. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, when you do a sun catcher and you have a large piece, do you put the large piece at the top or the bottom? Do you think I need more sparkles? Because, you know, we can hang some dangles down. Oh, I think we're gonna have to do that, right? Can you ever have too much sparkle? Maybe a third. I kind of like that. All right, let's see what. Heck, lost the. Hey, the thing I hate about this wire is I can't always see where the end is. Try to keep it outside, but I am not always successful here. There we go. Ah. All right. Try not to. So let's do this bottom one first, and then it'll be easier to hang the side ones. So now I could make a head pin, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just wrap this up the back and just around here. And I think this is thick enough wire that I don't even have to cut it off. I can tuck it into these other beads so it doesn't stick out and poke anybody. So now what we need to do is make a big like a big loop that'll fit around the bottom of our suncatcher. So I'm making a big loop, and then I'm going to leave me some wire to wrap it onto there. And let's see if we can, I think right here. Let me try. All right, I actually think this it'll be close to the middle, right? Thanks, Janelda. You know, when I drew these cards, at first I was like, oh, I know I have crystal skulls, so those will work. But then I was like, you know what? I have this other thing. You know, sometimes I buy things not knowing how I'm going to use them, but then an opportunity comes up. All right, so there's one. All right. Good thing you can twist wire because my color was to the back. All right, now we're going to do that with our side pieces. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut this. So I'm going to put it through here, and then I'm going to wrap it up the back, because these crystals are coated on the back, so they're not the same color. So we do want them pointing a specific direction when we're putting this on there. Now I just have to figure out how. Yeah, maybe that's probably a good spot. So, you know, I probably need a bigger loop, but the good thing is I can just pull this over and adjust it as needed. So let's see about placing it on here. See how far over we want to go. Let's see if we can. I think that, yeah, it's good. I'm trying to, you know, allow it to have some movement here. But it may or may not swing around. All right. So I'm just going to use my pliers so I can hold it still. And again, I'm not doing anything fancy here. I am just wrapping because it's not really gonna show. Right. I'm kind of wishing I had more of these skulls, you know. All right. Woo. I like that. All right, let's pull another piece off there. And we're gonna do the same thing. Again, I'm just going up the back of this. Not sure how purple that one is, but oh well, it'll catch the sun. Actually, maybe a different colored crystal. But that up there, and then we'll need it to go around same place. It's weird, my pliers don't connect, but that's all right. All right, so I went up 1, 2, 2. Actually, I think it needs to be here, but let's, yeah. All right, obviously have that loop up too high. Let's see if we can shorten that. That looks like it's too far away though, doesn't it? Yep. All right, let's go down here one more. All right. I think that's the same distance. Since these beads are not quite even, it's the a little hard to say. But, all right, let's grab onto that one so I can just wrap this wire, and we're just doing a sloppy wrap to kind of fill in that space, right? And we're going to make sure everything's going the same direction. I mean, these aren't going to move a lot, but they will move around a little bit. And I do still need to tuck my ends in. All right. Well, that's kind of fun, huh? Okay, so like I said, we've used purple in here, which is a favorite color. These zircons are one of my favorite colors. So I think, you know, we've hit some family birthstones there. We could have added more I don't know, what do you think? Do I need some spikes or something? Or would that be too much? You wish you had more too, you would buy one for him. Yeah. I might have a second one. I think I have these, a couple of these though, in just silver. They're just not the rainbow. But I do have at least one big one. Yeah. What do you think? Should I add some spikes? Or should we just stick with the crystals? I think I need that. It's kind of fun. I think the spikes are interesting. I can always add them, and if I don't like them, take them off, right? All right. I am going to make just the hanger part out of this elastic, so I'm going to cut about maybe 10 inches. I'm using elasticity 1mm. So this is really good stretch cord for like big stones because it's very heavy and very strong. This one you can actually use some sort of crimp with. I admit I don't use it very often. But I am going to, so I'm wrapping this on both sides of where I hung this skull so that it'll go around there. And we're just doing a lark's head knot here. I don't know if I could, if it's worth putting like a bead there to hold it in place. How big the holes are in. That'll work. Oh, I'm just gonna do that, and I'm going to just tie a regular knot in here, and we have our elastic hanger. Oh, I'm kind of, I think these spikes might be interesting, huh? We'll have to do this real quick. Don't need much wire here because so since I want to kind of hang these so the hole is not facing forward, I am gonna do a little bit of wire up in here. So it gives me sort of a V along the top here. I'll leave that edge for the minute. And I am going to through here. And I'm just making a loop over the bead on the edge, and we'll do a little wrapping. Now, if you wanted, you could kind of make a little top for this thing, but I'm gonna leave it above there. Need to trim that one. And let's look and see what we think. You would have put crystals. Yeah, I could still go back and do that because I just have it tied. But all right, let's. Again, we're just crossing this over, then I'm just making a little bit of a triangle above it and wrapping one end around. And then I'm going to, again, put this in here so it's hanging about the same length as that one. Make sure this not exact, but you know what? It's gonna be close enough. Right? And now I'm just wrapping that on there. And trim that. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put something on my elastic because otherwise it'll be fine when it's hanging up. That's kind of fun and different, huh? Get a little extra turquoise in. You can never go wrong with turquoise. So I could put, you know, like some turquoise beads or crystals on my stretch cord up here. But I think for now, we are done. Right. So hopefully you guys like that design. So we have our rainbow finish. Okay, we made a sun catcher. We use stretch cord for our hanging of our thing. We have a skull. We have a rainbow finish skull. And some of these beads are a little rainbowish, right? And then we had to use family birthstones or favorite colors. So the purple and the turquoise and zircon take care of most of my family. Although, you know, my immediate family. My husband's color is blue though, but he likes turquoise too, right? So, all right, I may still add some beads to this, or sort out this hanger here. But I think we got a fun sun catcher. It'll be pretty, huh? Very Day of the Dead. Which is very popular around here. All right. Thank you for joining me. I know it wasn't my normal day and people have other things going on. That's fine. But you can always watch the replay. If you're watching the replay, let me know you're out there. I will be back on Thursday at noon to make the napkin ring using square or cube beads, upcycled beads, fetish beads, and sea life inspiration. And then that means next Sunday, we get to flip our make deck, and who knows what we'll be making, because everything will be available to us again. All right, so thank you for joining me. Let's see what a little sun shining in, and that very sparkly, huh? Kind of like the spikes, yeah. Breaks up the crystals a little bit. I feel like I was a little off center though. All right, so. Woo-hoo. All right, as always, thanks for joining me. Free way to support small businesses online is to like and follow them on social media. You can follow Desert Cat Creations on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe to me on YouTube, Desert Cat Creations channel. The videos are all saved out on YouTube. I only keep them on Facebook for 30 days, so if you can't find something, it'll be over on YouTube. All right. Not all of my old stuff is there, but most of last year and many of the ones from the year before are there. All right. So thank you. And I will be back Thursday, noon Pacific, making our napkin rings. So you guys have a great couple of days. Stay safe. I know there's a lot of crazy weather, crazy heat. Looks like another heat dome is forming, and it's supposed to be 107 here in Tucson today. So it'll be a great day to stay inside in the air conditioning and do some more beading, right? So also, since I'm a little late getting the word out, I probably won't do it. I was thinking of doing the quail make-along this Sunday, but maybe we'll wait one more week. So if anybody wants to play along, we have our quail kit. You get enough to make 3 quails. You get the daddy quail. Then you get what I consider a teenage quail. And you get a baby quail. And those kits are $25. They're available on the website or direct from me. So you have time to get it if you've been waiting before we do our make-along. So, all right, I will see you all later. Thanks, Janelda. And like I said, anybody who's out there, let me know. Please, let me know if you're on the replay, if you're new or anything. I love knowing who's out there. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to direct message me or email me, and I'll be happy to get back to you. I will see you on Thursday. Bye.